never dances in the beginning. She never dances.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, it's all right.
There you go.
Do your thing.
Just, you want me to do it? Do the Ray? I call it doing the Ray.
Let me do this too, though. This
Nice.
Hi guys, how you doing this week?
All right.
Irene has spoken. Irene has spoken means the show must continue. The show must start.
Did it.
Huh?
Let's
What time
get
did
it.
it?
You are getting those intros down, sir. You were now. Did you work on an intro as well? Did you work on an outro?
Ooh, the outro I am still working on. I was
Okay.
working on it right before this, actually.
A work in progress, sir. All right. Well, I know that we always ask Cindy. I know we always ask Cindy how her fantasy football week went. I'm gonna guess. I think she took a loss this week, Carl. What do you think? What do you think? I think she took a loss this week.
If you're going to say take a loss, I'm going to say take a win, because
Okay.
that way one of us, we can't both be right, right?
Okay. What'd you do,
Well-
Cindy? How'd you do this week?
I don't know yet. I've got 3 guys to play, and I got to make like 40 points.
Oh, the same scenario that happened last week, right? Wasn't it a similar scenario
Yes.
that happened last week?
Yes.
Holy cow! So you got a Monday night thing going on then.
Yeah, and they're not my best players either, so I'm not thinking that it might be the loss week, but I don't know. Each one of I've got a defense, so that that goes up and down, and then I've got 2 other players that both have scored in the 30s by themselves, but usually it's in most rest of the weeks they haven't made 10 points, so we'll see what happens.
We'll see. So you need some huge points from the other 2. That's for sure.
Yeah. Yes.
That's for sure. And Carl, how are you this week, sir? What was going on with you this week?
Oh, it's been a great week so far. I've depressurized from all the Halloween hijinks, and now the sugar high has left, and so now I'm focused on creating new outro music and little chops up, a little
Intro.
little bits for our intro and stuff. So things are going pretty swell.
I like that, sir. I think I put the right man in charge there, Cindy. And then you know what? I think I put the right man in charge of that. At what point did you and your wife change over from the Halloween fall decorations to Christmas? At what point do you guys change over? I see
I'd
you got
Thanksgiving, Black Friday-ish.
Oh, okay. And how about you, Cindy? When do you start changing over the decor? What's a good time? What's acceptable?
It would be after Thanksgiving. I wouldn't do it before.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because my mom had me get out all the like she collects coffee cups and such, so she had me put all the fall coffee cups away and get out all the other the holiday Christmas.
Oh, really?
Okay, it might be a little too early, but it is what it is. I see you got something new in the back. Is that something new in the back of your above your fireplace there?
That's the Thanksgiving themed pumpkins and autumnal leaf, because we've switched out of the Halloween season and into the Thanksgiving mode.
Gotcha.
So,
wait, you can't use the 2 the same?
These
Like
are a
Halloween
different
stuff
type of pumpkin.
Halloween can't double as.
That's a pie pumpkin right there.
That's a pie
Yeah,
pumpkin.
Apparently,
the pumpkin can't have a face on it after Halloween. You got to go to the faceless pumpkin.
Yeah, you can't eat a pumpkin that's got a face on it for your pie. That'd just be gross. It's got candle wax and all kinds of stuff in there.
Yeah.
You guys lost me. You lost me like 2 words in.
Cindy is absolutely with me on the pumpkin pies.
Yeah.
And the Halloween pumpkins being different.
Well, I know that I had asked you guys for some stories or anecdotes this week. Hopefully, you both have been working on that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Wasn't one member of the show out last week, Cindy? And weren't we gonna haze him for being out one week?
Facing a Halloween hazing.
Look at her. I like that look.
The worst kind.
What's that?
It's the worst kind of hazing, a Halloween hazing.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh.
Did you watch the show, Carl? Did you watch
Uh,
last week's show?
I haven't caught up on the show yet. I was busy with this music business,
Oh,
so I've been working hard trying to incorporate I've also been trying to work on a talking Metallica theme, but that one's even harder than the
Oh,
outro music.
oh, really? Oh, wow.
yeah.
So, do you think he read his book this week, Cindy? Do you think he read any of his book this week? I'm gonna say I'll go ahead and guess, and I'll say no. I don't think he has. How about you? What
I'm
say
going to
you?
say he might have read a little.
A little, like maybe a few pages.
Hmm.
What do you think, Carol? Did you yes or no?
Somewhere, I think both of you are a little bit right because I did not read very much of it. I was like so busy with everything, you know.
Well,
Yeah.
I
I
was
would.
handing out candy. I was helping
Yeah,
people get all situated for their Batman costumes and such.
yeah. Wasn't it Batman and Joker or Batman?
Yes. So those turned out very, very well indeed.
Oh, good. Your kids have fun, and everyone had fun, I suppose.
Mhm.
Good,
I
good,
think
good.
so, and I gave out a lot of candy too.
Yeah, yeah.
I had some really cool ones come to my house that I was telling Goose about. I had one little
Oh,
gal dressed as a toilet, believe it or not, and then and on the front of her costume said "party pooper," and then
That's awesome.
another little guy. Last week we were teasing about the Halloween candy, and the funny thing
yeah.
was SWAT showed up at my door and wanted to arrest me. He was a little 7-year-old. He goes, "You're under arrest." And
Wow, you have
Wait,
some really
wasn't
creative
there someone
costumes.
behind him though? Wasn't there something else going on too? Wasn't there something else going on too that you were telling me about with the whole arrest thing? Wasn't there another part of that story, or was that just it? Or was that
I'm
just
scared to
the?
know. And they got a
no,
battering
remember
ram
when we
or
were
something.
talking about those little candies that I had
Yeah,
from
yeah.
that I thought looked like suspicious. Then it was
Mm-hmm.
funny when he showed up at the door, and I thought I finally put the two and two together, and I thought, yeah, the police are over here investigating me. But
Checking out your
there,
candies.
yeah. And then I had another little gal come to the door, and she says, "We have been searching for you." She says, "You're all over for you. Your extended warranty has expired, and we've been trying to contact you."
Oh
That
man,
was great.
that's
Oh
kind of the
man,
best Halloween costumes I've heard
yeah,
of.
yeah. Then I had another little one that she was like 5 or 6. I handed her bag. I made little bags, and I handed her the bag, and she says, "Do I have to open the bag and take my own candy out?" I was
Oh, that's
dying.
cute.
Yeah, yeah. I said, "No, honey, you get to take the bag with you."
Well,
It's like
I bet her
she thought
eyes
I was
lit up
putting her to
too.
work.
I bet her eyes lit up.
Oh
Like,
no,
Yeah, yeah. So
candy's a lot of pressure. She thought.
right, right.
Oh,
hmm, I get
I-
all that candy. I think she was thinking like, do I just get like one piece, or do I have to reach in and get it, or you know what I mean? Like,
Right,
I don't think
right,
she realized that you were giving her the whole bag. Like,
right.
oh
hmm.
right. You've got to
Yeah.
select one piece out of this whole bag
Um,
and then give me the rest.
I'll have to I have to send you guys a video that one person in our neighborhood had the front yard, had the fog machines, had the
Oh wow.
tombstones, and Mike Myers standing out there, with the
Ooh.
costume and everything. And my little 3-year-old, she's brave. She walks right past him, doesn't even bat an eye. The 8-year-old's like, "Well, I ain't going up there." And my daughter goes, "It'll be fine. It'll be fine." So they both go up there and they come back, and he starts walking towards them. Oh my God, he gets the knife out and everything. It's really
That was a
good.
real
I'll send it to you guys.
that was a
Huh?
real person that did that.
Yeah.
That was a real
Yeah.
person. Oh
Oh yeah.
wow.
It was really cool.
Don't you
Really
think that's
cool.
going a little extra, like maybe too far a little bit? I mean, how old were these kids that I mean, how old were the kids? I know how old your grandchildren are, but I mean, like, how old were these kids that he was scaring? Like, at some point, you got to say, okay, maybe they're too small to be,
Well, probably
scaring.
whoever come down the road. I don't think he was selective. Yeah.
Yeah,
Everybody's entitled to one good scare, right?
Yeah.
I guess, but you want to
Yeah.
scare them that young, do you?
I don't know. I
Well,
don't know.
he put another video up. Well, the people across the street that live from him, the kids were out on the porch, and they started walking down the porch, and he ran
Yeah,
across the street after him, but it was
yeah.
daylight then, it was pretty good. They ran in the house.
At some point,
Yeah.
they got to think, like, how much is this candy really worth? If you're a child, like, you ever think, like, I don't know if that Snickers bar is really gonna be worth it to go to that house ever again.
Yeah.
It's true.
At some point, what's the cutoff? What is the cutoff of the price you're willing to accept? Like, am I gonna be scared crapless every single house that I go to just for a little piece of candy? And like you said, Cindy, do I have to reach in the bag and get it myself? I mean, what's gonna pop
Right,
out at
right.
me?
Are they going to put me to work, or what? What I got to do to get this candy?
That's some real Halloween stuff right there. That is some scares. All I had was a few raptor dinosaurs running around over here. So,
oh, is that right?
You guys, those guys are fast. You got to watch out for those raptors.
Yeah.
Like, whoa.
Yeah.
You guys have a lot of trick or treaters, though. You end up having a lot.
I'd say we had about 60, probably. Something.
Oh, wow. That's what you had, right, Cindy? Wasn't it about 60?
Yeah, right. 60, 70. Yeah.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
We had one that they had converted the stroller into a John Deere tractor, and they had a little place where they could open it up and throw the candy in. It was pretty cool. Yeah.
No kidding?
Yeah.
Like, was it made out of cardboard, or how'd they do it?
I'm assuming it was cardboard, but it might have been even a little more sturdier than that.
Oh, wow. Oh, wow. Someone put a lot of work into that.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And just open
My neighbors dressed up as Alice in Wonderland. The whole family had, even Grandma was the cat, you know.
Wow.
They had the cat, the Mad Hatter, Queen of Hearts, Snow White, and the Rabbit. Yeah, they had, not Snow White. What am I thinking? Alice. Yeah, they had 5 different. Yeah.
Well, they didn't have a Dorothy, a Blanche, and a Rose. That's for dang sure.
No.
I didn't see any Dorothy, Blanches, or Roses out there.
Yeah. Hell, or the other trio, Goose, Pinch, and a Squeeze. They didn't come either.
Yeah, we were saying last week it was just a goose and a pinch, right?
Yeah.
No squeeze.
We were missing
No squeezing. Right.
Dorothy must have taken vacation. All right, guys. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Sophia needed my help.
Yeah, Sophia, but she lives with you.
Oh yeah, that's right. Touche.
Yeah.
Where were you gonna go?
The kitchen.
Yeah, cheesecake, right? Right, Rose?
Cheesecake break.
But all right, I did ask you guys to kind of give me a rundown because I have got a lot of questions about you, Cindy, and about you, Carl. Maybe introducing yourself a little bit more. And I know that Carl has a passion for music. You really do. And I've heard nothing but, many questions about both of you, really, is, like what they'll like, what they do, and blah, 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 blah. And I think these segments is a good way to introduce the two of you to the audience, maybe, perhaps. And so one of the, go ahead, Cindy.
Who are asking these questions? I'm just curious.
No, people like in the chat room or listeners, of the, no, seriously, of the network. I've had people ask me, hey, what's she like, or what is Carl like? What do they do? So on and so forth. So I thought it was a good way for you guys. What's he doing? Looking up and to the left?
I was thinking deeply.
When you were gone last week, Carl, I don't know if I was looking for you or what, but when I was watching the video later, I looked up more than I normally do. I was looking for you to be up there or what?
It's a recurring theme for us, certainly.
Yeah. All right. So I'll look down and then wait. Carl looks to his right. You look up and to your left, Cindy. Look up and to your left. The other left.
The other left.
And then Carl, you look to your right. You're right. And then I'll look down. There you go. Right? Because I'm looking at Cindy. You're looking at me. Cindy's looking at you.
That works.
Yeah.
Goofiness. All right. Really, I just wanted to introduce you guys a little bit to our audience because, like I said, I did have many questions about you guys, and I know that Carl has a passion for music. Right? That's pretty accurate, I would say.
It is.
Your knowledge of music has far surpassed mine or Brian's, for that matter.
It's true.
It's true. Well, don't be so humble, sir.
Yes, it's true.
Did it take much? I'm just wondering.
How dare you, Cindy?
I'd say they're knowledgeable. It's like a scale of various musical knowledges. It's like I'm at the far end, and then these guys are knowledgeable. and then we're introducing Bruce to the all kinds of different musics. So it's like I'm kind of at the far end, and Irene says she feels so
He's so
alone.
alone.
You're
Oh
the only
well.
person in the chat room.
Well, they might have issues because I remember they had some issues with
Oh,
Facebook.
that's true.
Cindy, remember on the trivia show they were having
Yeah.
some issues with Facebook people joining us. So I don't know if that's still the case, and it seems like it might be. So, because I remember they were having
Huh.
some issues with that, and like some of the people were answering the trivia, right, Carl? Or they were in the Facebook chat room, but I couldn't see them, and they really couldn't see, what they could hear the questions, but they really couldn't see me. So I guess they were having trouble. I couldn't quite get what they were saying, and some of them had some answers right. Right? Wasn't that what it was, Cindy?
Right, right.
Some were answering the questions right, but they didn't get the point, and they were like, "Well, why didn't I get the point?" So, anyways, but
Maybe
I
you
did
have
want to.
to.
The
Yeah,
YouTube
go ahead.
chat room is working.
Yeah, the YouTube seems to be working right now, so I don't know. And then
Yeah.
Christina last night said she was the other day that she was having problems too in the Facebook. So I was like, okay, it might be a Facebook issue, or maybe an update might be needed or something. So I don't know.
Yeah.
We'll continue, but I wanted to start off with you, Cindy, first, as I always do. Um, I wanted to start off with you. There's Corey. All right. So someone's on Corey's in Facebook there.
Okay.
Hey Corey, hi Corey. He won last week. He won the trivia this past Saturday, so he'll be my co-host for that trivia next week. Um, so I wanted
Who
to
was
start with
sitting
you,
next to
Cindy.
you at the who was sitting next to you at the restaurant
What are you talking
when you
about?
went out for the meet and greet?
Oh, that was Bruce. I brought Bruce with
Oh,
me, Carl.
oh,
I
Really?
I didn't know you.
Yeah, Bruce
I,
came out.
yeah. Mm.
It's
Yeah,
amazing. So
yeah. I
you
was
got to
telling him.
meet Bruce, Cindy?
No, I haven't
See,
met Bruce. I've had some bad experiences at that restaurant, so I didn't go.
Oh,
yeah, I didn't.
gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't care for that particular one really. So,
One
uh,
time I went in there, it was so hot it felt like it was a sauna. I couldn't breathe, so I left. And then
mm,
after they had all that bad food and all the other things that went on at that
yeah,
place, I just really
Oh,
wasn't
cool.
wanting to go.
they have a really
Yeah.
nice water fountain. It's that what do they call it? Those that buffet, that Chinese buffet off of MacArthur there, Carl.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah,
In
yeah.
that right by that
Is that the one you
plaza
went
there.
to? That Supreme, is it, what is that? It's like Supreme Hibachi or something like that.
Yeah, something like
Ah,
that.
yeah. Did
Hibachi, yeah,
Brian go?
something
What's that?
hibachi, yeah.
So it was
Yeah.
just you and Bruce that went to the hibachi place,
No, no,
but
no.
not.
People from the network went there, like
Oh.
Christina and Jason was there, and
And Bruce.
Bruce was there. Well, I was telling
Okay.
Bruce about it, and I was like, Bruce, would you want to go? And he's like, yeah, I'll go. And so I brought Bruce with me. I'm like, all right, man.
We had the smoke signal fellas were there. I saw them.
Yeah, Bubba and Steve were there, and
Yeah.
Oh, dang.
that's who Bruce ended up talking to. He ended up talking to like Steve, Bubba, and Bubba's girlfriend. So
Huh.
Is Bruce
Wow.
into this? Is Bruce into the smoke signal stuff?
no,
Just put it that way. Okay.
no, no. I haven't quite figured out what. Oh my goodness, Carl. Once I tell you the story, now that we're on Bruce, guys, I gotta tell you a story before we get into what I was trying to do. Was have you guys kind of tell your stories of your assignments rather, or your task rather. Uh, okay, Bruce was telling me a story. Janice and I a story, right? Girl, we're in the scanning room, right? Janice and I were scanning, and then Bruce comes in there and he starts telling us a story of how in college he had this woman come to his dorm room, I guess, lay on the bed. Yes, Bruce was scared and ran out of the bedroom. Ran out, not giving
Hmm.
this young lady an explanation or anything. Just ran out.
Mm.
And I was like, Bruce, and Janice and I were cracking up, at first, but I'm like, Bruce, what you did was insult this young lady. I go, that's the biggest insult you can give her. Anyway,
Mind is blown.
Janice and I did not know how to respond really, and I was just like, "Buddy, what you did was insult this young lady." And
I have a question. Why was he telling you this story?
I don't know that either
How
Janice
did
or
it
I
come up
have
in
an answer to it.
conversation?
He just kind of blurts things out sometimes,
Okay.
right, Carl? He kind of just out of the blue just says what he's gonna say.
Yeah, he is kind of out of the blue sometimes. That's an interesting story. I feel like there's missing context,
I
How
wasn't
did
gonna
she
get
get there?
I wasn't gonna get involved in that, to be honest. That's not the time nor place I need to get involved, detailed in that story. But and I
Okay.
had apologized to our colleague Janice. I was like, Janice, I apologize if he offended you in any way. I go, he really doesn't mean it. I go, he was just blurting out what came to his mind. And I was like, he really doesn't mean it. She goes, no, it's okay. I wasn't offended or anything. And I'm like, oh, thank goodness. I was trying to protect Bruce, I was kind of trying to protect him. I'm like, Bruce, that's something you can get turned over to HR for, dude. You cannot say things like that. I go, it's not
Yeah.
appropriate. It's not appropriate. I'm like, outside of work, if you want to talk and, tell your stories, that's fine. But at workplace, it's not appropriate, buddy. Anyways, so, man, I felt bad for him, dude. So that's why I kind of like let him hang out with me that night. I was like, okay, come on with me, dude.
Huh.
Stay out of trouble, man. Stay out of trouble. All right, guys, I did want to introduce the stories that you have lined up, right? I don't know that. Now, Cindy, were you able to get those pictures, or did you want me to show in the camera of the pictures that you sent me, or how did you want to do? Maybe you
I,
can show them in
well,
the. I don't know how
I
you want
guess
me to.
I could, but I was probably wanting it be easier for you to show them. I think
Oh, okay. All
you're
right.
just going to show them off your phone. How are you going to do it?
Yeah, I guess I can. Because Roy's got an appointment he's got to go to, so that's why he's kind of like,
Okay.
you guys run it today, so he's got an appointment he's got to go to. But yeah, I did want to. Yeah. How did you send them to me, Cindy? How did you send them to me? Did you send them through the
On
group?
the
Or
text messages. Text messages.
well, just you and I, right? It was just you and I, right?
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
was. I didn't see any, so
Oh, okay.
Uh,
Oh, yeah.
I
Here's
can
a cute.
contribute.
This is a cute one. I think this is one of the cutest ones you've sent me here. This is a cute one. And this must have been how you like picked them out or something. I don't quite know. Like it looks like they were just puppies. Like they're
yes.
cute little puppies.
Yeah.
All right. Sydney's story today that she wants to share with us, and I would love to hear the story, is about your Hope the Wonder Dog
My
and
dog.
how you came to have Hope, right?
Yes.
And how long have you had Hope?
She's 8 years old
So you've had her for how long?
the whole time.
The whole time. Okay. But how old was she
Except,
when you
well,
got her?
except for from like up to 9 weeks. I didn't have her. But,
Oh, I
yeah.
see. Okay. So this, okay. I just see like three little puppies. I don't quite know which one's Hope, though.
She's the bigger blonde one.
Can you guys make it out?
She's the one. If the way I'm looking at it, she's this way. No, this way over here.
Okay.
She's
Okay.
by herself more.
She's by herself more than the other two. Okay.
Yeah,
That's
the
Hope.
other two are her brothers.
No, get it. No. No. Come on, you gotta go, buddy. Come on.
Oh,
cat.
the dog
Cat's-
wants to see the other. Was that the
No,
dog or the cat?
The cat that always
He wa-
jumps up on the.
Cat wants to see the dogs.
I had like I had like the bowl of cereal that I was eating. I had like a bowl of cereal I was eating, but it got down to the near the bottom. So the cat jumped up and hold on. I really gotta close that door.
Cat's trying to steal the attention back for the feline. The felines
Got jealous of the dog?
The dogs.
So if you would be so kind as to share that story with us, and I'll go ahead and try to get more pictures up, or
Okay.
as you're sharing the
Well-
story. This is one of the cutest ones, I think.
We went to a fundraiser at the APL. Me and my cousin Lou, and we can't even talk. They had this drawing, so we signed up for it, and then we walked around some more. And I ran across. They had this whole big litter of puppies. So about a year before that, my dog had passed away. So I pick up this little puppy named Isabella, not Hope, And I'm holding her and I'm just crying my eyes out. And I think, today's not the day to get a dog. So I give the dog back and we look around some more.
So
And
how long did you
I
have
got,
the dog? How long did you have the dog, Cindy, before you gave the dog back? Or was it just like was it a few
oh
hours?
my,
Was it a week or
no, it was out there at the APL. I was just holding it there at the place, hon.
because you went for a fundraiser? Oh, I said I didn't know if you took the dog home with you and decided, okay, I
No,
can't.
the fundraiser was like more like a bazaar type thing. You just walk around. It wasn't a sit down thing or anything. It was outside. They had some booths set up where you could do different things.
Mm-hmm.
So my cousin Lou there was another dog there named Buddy, and he was a beagle, and she fell in love with him almost immediately. So later on, she eventually adopted him,
Were they all
and then
puppies, or
so
were they? Was the beagle a puppy, or was the beagle the
no,
name of the
he was
dog?
probably a year or two old. He was a little
Oh,
older,
oh, okay.
So, and he also had heartworms on top of that, so she had to wait a little longer to get him. So
Mm.
we went there and we went back home, and I got a call saying that I won that drawing that I put my name in. So I thought, well, that's my sign. I'm supposed to go back and get that dog. So I go back to get the dog, and they
What
said,
was her name?
no,
Isabel? Oh no, what was the name?
it's Bella. And
Isabel.
Isabella had been taken. And I was like, oh, and
Yeah.
I said, well, I was hoping to get a girl, and all they had was boys there. But then they said that she has a sister that this other man is fostering, and the two boys, and her name was Valentine. And I thought, oh, okay, well, I'll go meet Valentine, you know. And she's out running around the yard just like she does now, owning the place, And she this time she had a bowl or a ball or something in her mouth, no snake this time. So
Mm-hmm.
and then I held her and and then they brought her to the house. They didn't let me take her home, so they went to see where you live and stuff like that.
Yeah, yeah.
And I end up naming her Hope. So
Oh, so
yeah,
you renamed her. She was
yeah.
Valentine. Now you. Is it hard to rename a dog though?
She's
Or
only 9 weeks old, so I don't
oh,
think she's
okay.
gonna know her
Oh,
name.
okay.
So
So you got her at
so
9 weeks old.
yeah, yeah,
Oh. And she's 8 years old now.
yeah. And then the funny little twist on the story, she's part Beagle and part Lopso Opso. Well, I told you my cousin got the Beagle. Well, they already had a dog at home that was named Shelby, and is a Lopso Opso. So her two halves matched my one I had at home. She
I'll
was a
be
big. She was
darned.
a mix of those. Yeah,
Oh,
that's funny.
wow. Oh wow.
Yeah.
Hmm. What
So
made you? Can I ask? What made you like hesitant on Isabella though? At first, like, what made you hesitant on her?
well, I was so emotional that day. I wasn't sure I was ready to have the dog. You
Mm,
know, I
mm,
was crying. Shelby was the best. I mean, I love them all, but Shelby, he was my boy. I had him longer than anybody. And it had been just a year that he'd been gone. So
So where is that picture at with the puppies, with Hope and the other two puppies? Where's that picture at?
that's at the foster home where they were fostering the dogs.
Oh,
And this
mm.
guy was excellent. He had her housebroke before I even had her. She
At
doesn't
9 weeks
very
old,
ever, hardly ever does an accident at all.
did you
Hardly
have to
ever.
use like little pee pads? I remember when I got
No,
my little
no,
one.
she went right out.
Oh wow,
Mm.
Did her business. Yeah,
that's awesome.
Oh wow!
yeah,
Wait,
yeah.
is there?
This guy should take dogs for service. I mean, pay that guy. Instead of doing it for free or whatever he does.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Oh,
Any questions for Cindy, Carl? Any questions you would have for her?
Trying to think of some hope-related questions.
I think she covered it. I think you told us how you got it. It was a fundraiser that you went to, and
yeah.
you. But initially, wait. The next time you went, that wasn't a fundraiser, right? Because that was just a foster home that you went to go see Hope and the other dogs.
Yes.
Mm. So how did you end up picking Hope though? Because there was other puppies.
I just liked her. She was a blonde like me, so I picked her.
Mm.
It- yeah. And I
Hmm.
wanted a girl. The other two were boys.
Oh, they
I
were.
wanted a girl this time. So we had two boys for a while, Jake and Shelby. Yeah. They
Hmm.
were Shelby's, the other two. Yeah.
Oh, they were.
Mhm.
Did you ever set up like play dates for Hope? With because are those her siblings? Are those Hope's
Yeah,
siblings?
but no, no, no. That,
Mm,
funny, I was thinking about that today. I was wondering if she ever ran across one of them, would she remember them?
yeah, yeah.
I
Do you
would
think
think
they
so.
would? They
I
do,
would think
right?
so.
They do remember that. I think. Yeah, maybe
Thumbs are
they
so
do.
smart.
They really are, man.
Yeah,
They really are. You know,
yeah,
I got one that keeps playing. Chester keeps playing tricks on me. Remember?
It's
Keeps
true.
yeah,
playing
Chester's
yeah.
always playing tricks on you.
little jokes.
No.
I'm being fooled by a doggy. And Carl, I know I really am. And Carl, I know that you, like I said, you had passion for music, and I had given you a little bit of an assignment. I will start with you then, sir. We will go on to you, sir,
Sure, sure.
and your story that you have in music. Now,
Indeed, it is a music story. It actually relates back to a previously recurring segment in our show where we talk about Metallica because there's
Oh,
one of my favorite albums by them is this one called Garage Incorporated, and that's where I first.
wait, by
That's where
Metallica, they have a record called that, an album
they
called that.
do, they do, yeah. I don't know if you've heard. Do you remember they did like Whiskey in the Jar, and they did
Yeah, yeah,
Turn the Page, that Bob Seger song?
yes, yes.
Mm-hmm.
oh, I love Bob Seger.
The
Mm,
album, it's got those songs, and there are some other ones on there. Whenever I first heard, like that's like a compilation album. It come out right after they came out with Load and Reload, which was kind of they were like kind of testing out some different types of music basically after they'd been really super successful. They were like, well, how do we top that? And then they experimented. So Garage Incorporated was kind of like a harkening back to their roots because whenever they were first a band, they had been they had Lars Ulrich was from Denmark. He's their drummer,
mm-hmm,
and so he
mm-hmm.
listened to a lot of different music that was from Europe. There was this thing called the new wave of British heavy metal. So there were all these bands that he knew about that weren't known about in America. So they would play music from that genre by all these different bands that they had access to and nobody else had ever heard.
Hmm.
So they would just go and play these songs, and people would just think they were Metallica songs, and they had way more songs to play than a band just starting out and writing their own songs would.
But were they? Did they sound a lot like Metallica? I mean, were they a lot
Uh,
like
I think
them?
Metallica sounded a lot sounded a lot like them.
Oh,
So
really?
I think it was
Oh,
like they were influencing their music, probably to some extent. Especially whenever you start playing somebody else's music, then it starts kind of seeping into your creative output.
But
So
Lars
I
that
have a
never
quick.
played. But Lars never played with them, right? He just heard them.
oh, who Lars? He's their
Yeah,
drummer.
he was their drummer too in that band as well.
Well, he was only the drummer in Metallica, but he was from Denmark, so he had all these different influences that he brought to the band. Does that make sense? Are you following me? I might
No,
be losing some people.
I'm with you so far. Are you with him, Cindy?
Anybody
So
in the
far?
chat?
Are you with him so far?
He said it was a compilation album. What does that mean?
Ah, well, it's a combination of
Or-
several different EPs that they put out over the years. Like some of the songs on there came from like 1987 ish because they put
Oh,
out like a EP, which is like a short version of a record
Mhm.
called Garage Days Revisited, where they played some of the songs that they would have played whenever they were first a band and they were just rocking around San Francisco.
What? Meta-
well, I thought you came up with a new word. You said combination album, and I thought you said compilation album, and I
I think
thought, what the hell
compilation
is compilation? I never heard of that.
compilation was what I was going for. I think it's a word. I think so.
Yeah.
But
But
it's
wait.
whenever you
Okay.
like combine some pre-existing materials basically
Mm.
Okay.
into a new album.
So
Yeah.
what?
I
So
think
wait. So Metallica was influenced by this band, is what you're saying?
by a bunch
Lars
of
kind of
different
got
bands. There were
out, out in Europe. You mean?
yeah, there were a bunch of bands called like there's one called Budgie and one called Diamond Head, and there were all these like unheard of metal bands that were around in like the late 70s and early 80s that they were playing like the music of whenever they'd perform live, and then they'd play their Metallica songs too, but they had this repertoire that most other bands didn't have to draw on. And then I was going to talk about how their bass player at the time in the early 80s, it was this guy named Cliff Burton, and sadly he isn't alive anymore. They got into a bus crash when they were touring Europe in about 1986 or 7. It was a terrible bus accident, and unfortunately he died. But he's one of my favorite members of Metallica because he was like the Misfits. They were this punk band. Mm-hmm. So he even had like a tattoo on his arm of the Misfits. So he brought in like the punk rock and the speed and like all these other elements. Oh, and there was like H.P. Lovecraft was a short story writer that he was really into. So there was like there were a lot of different elements.
Wait, he was a music writer? What do you mean? He wrote music, or what?
He was a bass player in Metallica, the original one.
Wait, how many?
No, the H.P. Lovecraft. What kind of music? What did he write?
Oh, there was actually a band named H.P. Lovecraft back
that's what I was getting at. Yeah.
But he was like a horror writer from early 20th century. So they some of their song titles are named after him, after stories that he wrote. Sometimes they have lyrics that are kind of like, about, creatures. He would have like very like cosmic monsters. Like there would be some person that stumbled into like some sort of situation, and then you discover that they were in over their head, and there were like all these cosmic forces coming to get them. And at the end of the story, it'd be like the tendrils would wrap around their neck, and they'd be snuffed out or something, or lose their mind. It was just like it was a kind of distinctive type of horror story.
Have you listened to some of these bands that you mentioned? Like, have you heard all of these bands that you've listened to?
Yeah, totally.
And do they all sound similar to what we know as Metallica? Like you were saying, that maybe Metallica took a little bit
here and there.
Yeah. I would say the Misfits were probably the most recognizable here in America, that with all the bands that you've mentioned. I think that would be the most recognizable band. I've heard of the Misfits, and I don't know if I've ever heard of their music. But what's a song that we would know, like that we would know?
Probably their most famous one's called "Die, Die, My Darling," or maybe "Last Caress." Those are all songs that Metallica covered. So
now is that a love song? "Die, Die, My Darling."
It is. It's a tender love song. Basically, they have like.
What's that?
I got a question. Now,
go ahead.
As much as you are into music, back in the day when you were younger, did you have some gigantic speakers?
Ooh, I have had gigantic speakers at some points. I was just adding some to my Christmas list yesterday, Cindy. You got me figured out.
Uh-huh.
I love me some gigantic speakers, yeah.
So do you have a special room in one of the 15 rooms that you have at your house just for your music?
19.
This room is my best one, really, because I got some Apple HomePods over there, so those sound pretty good.
Is that the best acoustic room you got? Would you say?
I think so. It sounds good in here.
Do you have vinyl?
I don't. Well, I do have vinyl, but I don't have a record player right now.
Okay.
Did that make the list? Did that make your Santa Claus list?
Which should. I think I need to get some more inspiration for my Santa Claus list. So I'm record player going on there after this show.
You got the boombox?
I do have a boombox, yes. I got a boombox, Apple Music, I got HomePods. Just don't have a record player. I did have one, but I had like a gigantic record player, so it was taking up too much space.
Do you remember the old record players that it would fold up and then it would unfold?
Yeah.
And then you play it, and it had the two speakers on the side. Yeah, definitely. All built into one piece.
Wait, it would fold up into the speakers, or would it fold like I don't
get the record player part was in the middle. It would fold up there, and then you have your handle, and the speakers were just right next to it. The only part that came down was the record player part, but it was all one piece.
I thought you were saying like you fold the record player in half or something, but I was like, how would you do that?
No.
Yeah, those are pretty delicate. You don't want to fold those guys up.
Yeah. I remember back in the day. Now speaking, well, not we're off the topic, but remember back in the day when like Frankenberries and Blueberries and all that Count Chocula
Yeah.
would send you like a record in like here's Count Chocula. They would send you like a record. They would
Yes,
send
I
you
remember.
a little record, right? In some of that stuff.
Hmm.
Like I forgot even what the music was, but
It might. Do you guys remember? And I'm kind of thinking there was. Was there ever like records that you just punched out, like on the back of a box, and somehow played?
Yeah.
yes,
Right.
yes,
Right.
yeah, yes.
There were
Yeah.
all kinds of records like that. Get them in a magazine or something, punch them out, put them
Yeah.
on the turntable. Vinyl.
So back to what Carl was saying, I guess a little bit, but before we started talking about records and Frankenberries
Hey,
or whatever the heck we're talking about.
Frankenberry's always welcome.
uh, all right. So what is the oldest band? Was Metallica older than these bands that you were talking about over Europe, or like because
That's a good
you said
question.
Lars would go over and well back, because he's from what do you say, Germany,
Denmark.
Denmark. So Lars would go back, and listen to all these different bands.
Hmm. He'd probably
So
come back with like arms full of vinyl records. Like, we got to listen to these.
if only I had a record player, right?
Mm-hmm. And James Hetfield's like, I've got the record player. Put them on.
How did they meet? How did James Hetfield? How did the band get together?
That's a good question. I think that they maybe it was one of those things where they answered in a newspaper type of thing, like, drummer wanted type of thing.
Kind of like what
So
Blanche did with her roommates.
precisely.
Put
So
it up
Golden
in
Girls and the Metallica have more in common than they'd like to admit. We
I
should
think.
figure out which one's which for the Golden Girls versus Metallica.
Oh
Hmm.
wow, that's a good.
Lars a Blanche or is he a Dorothy?
Hmm.
Something to ponder for next show.
I think we first have to learn who all these artists are and the musicians are, Cindy, in this band. Right? We have to research that before
Find
we can research the other.
We have to find out if Lars had a lot of groupies. If he had a lot of groupies, he's probably a Blanche.
Probably a Blanche. It's true. Could
So,
it be? Find out who the groupiest of the Metallica guys is.
who
Or if he's
started
more
the
of a
band?
hillbilly, he's probably Rose.
It was either probably Lars or James, I would think. So either
Yeah.
James Hetfield or Lars Ulrich, or maybe both. Maybe they were looking for each other.
Hmm.
And at the time, when they first started out, they had Dave Mustaine from Megadeth was their guitarist.
Yeah, I heard that. I wonder what happened with that. Something happened. It was always in the news, but
Yeah, they were like, "You got to go, man. You can't be in Metallica anymore," and he had to pack up his stuff. They were like on tour or recording or something, and
didn't he
get on
start
his
another
bus
band
and go
too,
home.
though, Carl? Didn't he end up starting another band too? He was in another one.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he's in Megadeth now,
Yeah,
but he
that's the
started
band.
out being in Metallica as their original lead guitarist. It's so wild. So yeah, he's had a successful career too. But
Was Megadeth started before or after? I would say, like when he was let go. Did he then start Megadeth? He
Oh,
started
yeah.
that band.
Yep.
Like, I didn't know if Megadeth existed before, when he was let go or whatever.
Nope.
So-
He
When
was
did
like
Metallica start? When did they start their band?
Yeah, what year was it?
early 80s, I'd say. I'd say 1980, 1981,
So,
something like that.
who would be somebody that I know that probably influenced them? You think
Ooh, somebody you know. Well, obviously Seeger.
Bob
Seeger.
Seger?
And
Oh, very
who was
good.
that? Thin Lizzy. They were the band that sang that Whiskey in the Jar.
Yeah.
You know Thin Lizzy probably. The Boys Are Back in Town. That's a Thin Lizzy song.
Oh,
Queen.
yeah.
Queen.
Yeah.
They covered the same album has a song called Stone Cold Crazy, and that's by Queen.
Really?
I'm always amazed that somebody will name some band, one of the headbanger guys, and I'll be like, oh, I don't really know anything. And then I'll start hearing the music. And I go, yeah, I know most of them.
Yeah,
you
you're like,
know,
I've heard all
yeah,
these songs.
yeah.
It's true. I know.
Funny.
I'm not like a total metal aficionado, but I know, a fair amount about most music. So, but there's a lot of metal that I am not 100% up on.
That is the one compliment I've always received about you, Carl, even from our co-host Cindy. They go, you know what? Carl seems to know a little about many topics.
Mm.
I'm like, yeah, he really does. He really does.
I'm trying to fit more information in here all the time, so we're ready whenever we need it.
Hey, Brian is in the chat room. Do you see that? Our buddy Brian's in the chat room.
Oh, he says, I also like Am I Evil?
Now, who's that?
Great song.
Who's that?
I think I'm going to say that's probably Diamond Head. There were a lot of different bands on that, so I could be wrong. But that is a great song. I love that song.
Diamond Head is one of those European bands?
They are one of those European bands that Lars brought to the band. The new wave of British heavy metal. Yep. Def Leppard actually was one of those bands. So they were probably like, let's listen to the unusual and exotic sounds of Def Leppard for their first album. And then they became famous, very famous after that, of course. But
Wait, you said Def Leppard was one of what bands?
There was this thing called the new wave of British heavy metal. And so it was like, Diamond Head and Budgie and Def Leppard, of course. I think there was all kinds of different bands that are all on Garage Incorporated that are from that era. Early 80s or late 70s metal bands that weren't like super successful. Kind of underground.
Gotcha. Mm-hmm. You know what, Carl? you have more knowledge, sir, about music, and even Brian's got a little bit of knowledge. Obviously, I didn't know that. I don't know all the what's happening. What's that? What's he saying? Brian is saying what?
He's got some stuff to say.
Carl knows his music, but I bet he has never heard of Captain. What is it?
Captain Beefheart.
Yeah. What is that?
I could not be that cool, Brian.
Possibly be me, Brian.
Couldn't be that cool.
Sounds like a cartoon, Captain Beefheart.
It does. Captain Beefheart.
Oh man, I need to cut out that audio.
Oh no, please don't. Going. Please don't. Actually, Christina just sent me something. Please don't. Maybe I'll have Steve do it for us. Steve Arena do it for us. But this is what Christina. Hold on, give it a minute. Let me get focused.
Ooh.
What do you think that as a new? Wait, let me get focused. Hold on.
I caught a glimpse and I love it.
Why can't I not get this right?
I don't know. We're having technological.
Yeah, further back's better, Goose, because you don't have the glare.
There you go. What do you think of that, guys?
That's magnificent.
And on the hat, it says Carl, Cindy, and Goose.
Whoa.
Yeah.
I have probably 20 things that are trying to be that in my Photos app. They're all like, that's not it. No.
Here's one of the
That's cutest.
It. What's that? I'm sorry. I'm saying, what are you talking about?
I have like 20 different things that are like trying to be that in my Photos app, but that is, that is much better than what I have in my photos.
Oh, so you were working on the logo as well.
I was trying to make that. I feel like, I didn't come anywhere close, but it's like almost. Every one of them's almost that, but it's better.
I don't know. I like that one a lot. I definitely feel that we have to get rid of the logo that currently exists, right? We all agree that's a logo we need to get rid of.
Mama Goose and the Goslings.
Yeah.
Goose and the Goslings.
Yeah.
Gosling number 1, Gosling number 2.
Unless one of us could be Goss and one could be Ling.
Well, I was thinking we could get Ryan Gosling masks to wear,
Oh, there you go.
Oh, you gotta tell Carl your idea. Now that would be silly. You gotta tell Carl your idea of what you wanted us to do. Remember, we went to dinner the other day, and you were telling me. Yeah. Tell Carl this idea.
I don't know how did we get on the subject of that though? I don't know. For some reason
we were talking about
dressing up.
Yeah, costumes and such.
And I said, we could be Thelma and Louise,
Ooh.
and Goose says, "Why do you always want me to dress up as a woman?" And I said, "Well, I said you could be the young stud in the back seat. You didn't have to be the other woman."
That's pretty funny.
And
Yeah.
I think we ought to, if we're gonna dress up again, ever again, it should be the Blues Brothers, right?
Ooh, I'm into
There
it.
you go. And then
Blues
wasn't there
Brothers.
like wasn't there like an evil school teacher or something, a nun that would like hit him or something? Remember that scene where the nun hit him? And I'm thinking Cindy could be like that
I'm
mean
going to
little
be the nun.
nun. Yeah, that mean little nun that would hit him like she hit him with a ruler, right, or something. Wasn't it
Oh.
like a ruler or something she hit him with?
I went to Catholic school. I could probably pull that off, with because we had all that.
You know what? Well, I don't know if I should get into that really, but I don't know. I remember being back in school, and if you got out of line or whatever, you got spanked. Nowadays you can't do that, of course. But do you guys
No.
remember that when you got out of line and you were spanked
We're from a different world,
by the
completely different
teacher?
world.
It was like, wow. Anyways, I don't really want to get into all
You're
that.
like, I'm gonna straighten up and fly right. It's gonna be fine.
Goose, did you get spanked often in school? I'm just curious.
No, only dropped on my head. They never spanked me. They just turned me over and dropped me.
Ow,
God.
man, the old pile driver, poor Goose.
Oh, man, poor Goose.
Yeah, then speaking of pile driver, I had my brother. My brother had this buddy, right? And we all liked him. All of my brother's siblings, right? He played in a band, and he always had these people come over, right? And one of them would always, seriously, he would always pile drive me. Like I'm not even joking. Like or like do a new move to me, like do a new move on me because they were big into wrestling back then, with the Hulk Hogan and all that stuff. And then he's like, "Come here, Goose," and I was always small, little guy, so he'd always like take me and like suplex me or like pile drive me or like the big choke slam thing.
Oh
like,
no!
What? I mean, he was always choke slamming me like on the bed or the couch or something. He's not doing it on the floor of the concrete. But I was like, what the heck is this guy always like body slamming me for?
Now, if ever a show needed a disclaimer before it was the wrestling shows. Whenever we were kids, like should have been don't do this to Goose. Whatever you do, we needed a disclaimer. Like kids, don't try this at home. These are professionals. But nope, we were just all out there body slamming each other, I guess.
You were too? I mean,
I'm sure I got carried around on somebody's shoulders and thrown into a couch cushion or something. Who knows?
Yeah.
Maybe suppressing memories of being thrown about.
I don't. I remember being thrown about a lot.
Being the youngest, all the boys, they could go after you.
Yeah, and then their friends would come over. Like I said, not only would my siblings, like
God.
like their friends would come over.
Way worse.
Come on, Goose, let's wrestle. I'm like, no, I don't want to wrestle, man. You're like 4 times my size. I don't want to wrestle, dude.
You are not a professional, sir. You are not a professional.
No.
Amateur wrestlers, if anyone asks, please put us down.
We went one time to the convention center and watched the wrestling.
Yeah.
You've never seen something so fake in your life. We watched Brutus the Barber Beefcake, and
he was the one with the long hair, right? And it had like the funky little like spandex, and he had carried on big scissors, right?
He wasn't bad looking, but when they tried to bash their head up against it, they weren't even hitting. I mean, they're about 6 inches away, but on TV it looks like they're really hitting them, And
yeah, it's like this, like they're slamming, like they're hitting with their hand.
Yeah, right? they're hitting the floor. They're not hitting them. There's the noise, but it was bad. It was bad.
So Goose, whenever you were doing your amateur wrestling, were they hitting it with their hand? I think that didn't.
No.
They didn't know the tactic.
No. That was my actual head. Yeah,
I know it was our actual heads. I think.
Like putting me through tables was funny to them. Like, I don't want to be put through a table. That shit hurts.
Your mom comes home and she's like, "What happened to the table?" We watched wrestling again.
Wrestling. Really, it
Right.
was like that. I can't tell you how many windows and such got busted because of that stuff, man. And then they would like, you know how they throw you off the ropes, right? And you come back off the ropes and like you're supposed to bounce right back. Well, they would like try to fling me off the freaking wall. I'm like,
Oh my God.
I'm like, no, no, like Goose, come on back. I'm like, no, I don't want to come back. You're gonna freaking, and they go, no, Goose, come back. So they would take me, right, and rather than like they'd fake like they're going like this, but they would never let go of my hand, right? So because you can release it and they go off the ropes and you come back. Well, they would never let go of my hand, so they would take it and they'd come back like this, and then they like line drive me. What's they call it, like a line driver or something. And I was like,
Oh,
what?
the clothesline, like they
Yeah, the
clothesline you?
clothesline. Yeah, I'd come
Yeah.
back and clothesline me. And I'm like, Goose,
Oh
you're
my
supposed to
God.
fall. I go, hey, I did fall, but you still got my arm. I can't run away.
Oh God.
And now,
Poor
Goose,
Goose.
you gotta get
Poor
up in the
Goose.
suplex, and they pick me over the back and they slam me down on the bed
Oh,
or something. I'm like, what in the hell, man? And then that was my brothers. Now, when my brother's friends came over, they would, Goose, we gotta toughen you up, man. You gotta learn how to fight. I'm like, no, I
Oh
don't. I
my.
just gotta be faster than everybody else. That's all I gotta
Yeah.
be.
Speed.
Oh
It's
my.
true.
So when I was younger, when I was much obviously younger, I was always like one of the fastest kids in school. I made sure of it. I was like, other
Yeah.
kids would, practice playing sports. I was like, nope, I want to continue running. I gotta get faster than everybody else.
Oh my God. There he goes. There he goes.
There he goes, the Goose.
Seriously, man, I'd always race like if I saw a neighbor, coming home from the store and on our street, like I said, I grew up in a small little town. So now, and if I saw him coming on the car, and I was like, hey, slow down, slow down, slow down. I want to race you and see how fast I'm going, right? And they would clock me with their car and they would keep up with me, as I was running alongside, or I'd race kids on their bicycles like all the time. I was like, yeah, man, like, just keep up with me and then let me know like how fast you think I'm going or whatever. And so I would do that all the time. If I see a neighbor was driving back from the grocery store or something, I was like, hey, clock me. I want to see how fast I'm going.
You
So
need
I
to
would
get
do
one of
that all
these
the time.
fitness trackers.
What's that?
You probably need to get one of these fitness trackers. You could be like testing yourself out. You probably enjoy it a lot. Christmas
so?
idea for you.
But it was more running because, okay, here's another situation. But it was more running to save my life, Cindy. I didn't want to get beat up and put in a
Oh yeah.
suplex and all this stuff. I was like, no, I'm running because obviously all these people are bigger than me, and they're gonna beat the hell out of me. So that I was running to save my life.
Maybe it's more of
We
an
need.
idea
We
for.
need to. We need to
Maybe
take you now to, where they have at the side of the road, it tells you how fast the car's going. We need to take and have you run and see how fast you can get.
we need to shoot one of those laser beams at them, like the police do.
You no
You
longer
know,
have a
they have them by
15-year-old
the.
dude. You
They
have a
have them by the
50-year-old.
schools a lot of times. You just right there at the side of the road. You just
Oh,
run.
yeah. Where they monitor how fast people are going in certain areas so they can give out those
Yeah.
tickets. Which is why they do that, right? Which is why they set them up.
Mm-hmm.
Do those things actually take pictures of your license plates? I'm wondering, or is it that they're just kind of seeing how fast traffic goes in this area to give out tickets, like
I think they're just telling you trying to train you to slow down a little bit. Is my thought process, because if you see it every day and it's like, oh yeah, I shouldn't drive fast here, then eventually you'll stop driving fast there, hopefully.
Yeah.
I think.
Well, here's a story I would like to share with you guys. Now that I was on my story of the running,
That was a great story.
Well, I got more, sir. Would you like to continue with the childhood of Goose? I mean, okay. I was at the bus stop, simply at the bus stop with all like the neighborhood kids, of all ages, really. And so, like I said, I grew up in a small town, so it didn't have many buses really. It had like two different buses. One went to the high school, and one went to like the elementary school and all that stuff. Anyways, so okay. So like, okay, I was at the bus stop, right, and there was a high school kid that was driving past, right, and I think he had something against my brothers or something, right, and he said something to me, and about my brothers or something, and I was like, whatever, dude. I was like, whatever, dude. And then he came back around, right? He got rodded and came back around and did a UE and came back around and was slowed down. He goes, "What'd you say, you little blank, blank, blank?" And I was like, dude, blank you, dude. I'm not gonna be, part of this nonsense. Whatever you're doing to me. I'm like, dude, screw you. And then he got out of the car. Again, I'm just a
Oh
little
no.
kid, man, and this kid's in high school. So he chased me. He got out of the car. He goes, "Come here," and he wanted to like kick my butt in. And I was like, no. So I started running, right? And I was just like maybe like a block away, just really down the street, really, maybe a half block from where the bus stop was to where my house was, right? So then I ran down like there was a hill. So I had to run down the hill and then go down a little bit more, like maybe 7, 8 houses down past the hill, right? And this guy was chasing, got back in the car and started chasing me with his car. And I was just running as fast as I could, man. And I went in because I started earlier. I had to go to the bus stop a little earlier for my brothers because they were older and they were like in high school or whatever. And I remember my three oldest brothers were in the house. I was like, and I ran into the house right away. And go, hey guys, there's some freaking high school kid wanting to beat my butt out there. And they ran outside. All three of them ran outside, and that kid took off. And that guy took off, man, because I guess he knew it. My brothers knew him, and was like, dude, that guy ever bothers you again, Goose, you let us know. And I guess my brothers kind of threatened him in high school that day, like, hey, you don't touch Goose, you don't touch him.
Yeah.
But once again, I had to be faster than the vehicle in order to get to my house safely, because that guy would have grabbed me, and who knows what he would have done to me, right?
Yeah.
So again, I had to be faster than everybody else. So it wasn't that I was practicing to be a track runner. I was practicing to save my life. I mean, that's how I had to live. But yeah, wow. So when I say I was dropped on my head, it wasn't lying. Here's a story I'll keep telling stories. Okay, one time my brother and I were up. We had a 2-story bedroom house, right? And then
Which brother?
Bodine, my brother Ryan.
Okay.
And he, to this day, he swears he didn't do it, but I know he did, and he knows he did. Anyways, I was up on the 2nd story, and we were looking out the window or something. We saw like maybe a fire truck or something, go by. And again, we're just little kids. And then I was standing, but I was shorter. We were looking out the window for whatever reason. And I was standing on, remember the Tonka truck? Remember the Tonkas used to have, those actual big Tonka cars?
Yeah, solid ones.
Yeah, the solid metal
Those
ones.
are built well. Yeah.
Yeah. So I was standing on one of those big Tonka dump trucks, right? And my brother, I think he like pushed it or moved it with his foot. He kicked it or something. And I ended up falling 2 stories on my back, knocked the wind out of me and everything. And apparently, and then when I came to, obviously, my brothers and my mom, they called the police or ambulance or whatever. And when I came to, I guess like I had the wind knocked out of me and everything. I was like kind of like dazed, I was like, yeah, it really was, man. And then like, and I remember my brother coming down, and I go, why the? Because the police, the ambulance guys were asking my mom, like, what happened here? What happened? How did he fall out of a 2-story window? And I told him, I said, well, my brother freaking moved the dump truck. He pushed me. And I go, I fell. And from what I understand is I didn't miss the sidewalk by very much at all. Like they said, my head, when I fell, right, I went like this. And so I fell like this. So I kind of turned, flipped in the air. And I landed on my back like this. But the sidewalk was like right here.
Ooh.
So, I mean, yeah. I mean, that could have been fatal.
Yeah, I'm glad it wasn't. That's terrifying. I don't
It
think I've
really
ever felt
is.
that far before.
So
I fell out of a tree and stuff once or twice.
So when you did really?
Yeah.
Did you get the wind knocked out of you?
Oh yeah. It seems like every time I fall, I always land in the same. Like you catch yourself in the same spot over and over again. So I'd fall out of a tree a few times, and I always landed kind of like on this arm, right? And I feel like over time,
like on this side. You mean on this side, like you land like this?
I'd always like land right about here, like on this arm, and kind of like on my elbow-ish.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So So I'd fallen a few times, like probably 2 or 3 times, out of trees and off the stairs and that sort of thing when I was a kid, growing up and stuff. So whenever my first son was born, we had put up baby gates, and it was actually, I was trying to get in there to watch The Walking Dead. I was watching that show at the time. So I was in a hurry, so I kind of tried to jump over the baby gate, and my foot caught it, and I landed right there on my arm, and
Mm-hmm.
I smashed through the baby gate like the Hulk, and it was just like in pieces, shattered to bits, and I landed on my arm, and I was like, ah. And my wife started cracking up, and my son looked over at me like, "What are you doing?" And I was like, "Oh, I can't get up. I broke my arm, fractured my arm there where I'd fallen out of the tree all those times."
Oh my
So
God.
Does your wife always laugh when you get hurt?
usually, it's pretty hilarious. So I don't know.
Are
I
you a
have a way
clump?
of making it very comedic.
My I, my
Whenever I
my sister
do a
my
pratfall.
sister's like that too. If you get hurt, she just laughs her ass off. You're like,
Yeah,
oh
I
my
mean,
God! And her husband gets so mad, and then I start laughing. I can't help it.
yeah, I mean, laughter is really contagious. She has a good one that I would have laughed at if I'd seen it whenever she was a kid. They were, I guess that her and her or like all of her family were up in the attic. They were doing some attic cleaning. Oh,
Yeah,
hey, remember this? Oh, yeah, there's this game that we had from, the 70s or whatever.
Hmm.
So she like was on the little beams walking around in the attic,
Yeah.
and she took a step off of the beam and onto the drywall and
Oh, went right through, didn't you?
fell right
oh,
through into the
wow,
living room.
Oh my God. Like
Yeah.
all of her
oh,
landed. Like she didn't just put her foot
Yeah,
through it.
she's like,
All of her landed through like, oh wow, like you see in the movies.
yeah, exactly. You
mhm.
see in the movie, she just went straight through the ceiling.
Where did she land? She landed on a couch, she landed
Landed
on
in
a
the living
table.
room in a pile of drywall dust. I was like, "Whoa,
Wow.
that's intense." That puts my baby gate story to shame. Certainly, I would have
Kind of.
been like, I would have been cracking up. I'm
Yeah,
sure. But she didn't get hurt or anything though, too, so that's good. And my arm was
Okay.
yeah,
fine.
that is good. That's
It
good.
was just a fracture. I'm fine now. I just try not to land on
Mm.
that anymore. Word to the wise: don't land on the same spot over and over again.
Yeah.
Wait,
Poor Goose, I
did you
land on his
break?
head all the time.
Yeah,
Except the
well,
one time.
I got pile drived.
Poor Goose
Yeah.
getting pile drived,
Got body
leaping,
slammed.
leaping from higher places like Tonka trucks,
I
two
never
stories up.
like I remember always getting the wind knocked out of me. For every time they would like roughhouse me, I'm like, why am I always getting the wind knocked out of me? These guys want to kick my butt in all the time. But
Was the
Oh,
Flash one of your favorites? I'm just curious. He was
I wish
always
he
running.
was. I wish he was. I wish he was. Oh my
Yeah.
God.
what's funny is we had a race at work before you started.
Yeah, Bruce was telling me that. Yeah, Bruce and some
Yeah,
of the supervisor was racing.
you could have been a shoe in. You could have taken us all out.
Oh, you
How
I
raced
many
was,
too?
people
I was
raced?
in the race. I'd
How
say
far
probably
did you race?
6,
How far? How far did you race?
maybe 30 yards or something like that.
Yeah.
It
Oh,
was
okay.
not a long race. I
Mm.
participated in this race. Bruce participated in this race.
Did you beat Bruce? Who did you
I
beat?
did not.
Who did you beat?
There was no one that I beat. I was just doing it for the exercise anyway, really. But I intended to not lose, but apparently I'm slower than everybody else. So you should have been there though to take us out. Could have been number 1.
I'm not fast anymore, guys. I mean, I'm not a 14, 15-year-old kid anymore. I'm a 50-year-old man who's yeah, like I
So
said,
what?
I don't run anymore, man. I don't need to do that
Wow.
anymore.
Think we just need to get some chickens. Have you chase some chickens around? Do a Rocky training montage.
You want me to do a Rocky training montage, do you? What the hell?
So
What the hell is going on here?
once you got your license, you quit running. Basically, is that what you're telling us? You got your
Mm,
car, you could drive. Nobody, so you didn't have to run from people.
Vroom vroom. I don't need to run anymore.
no, I don't know. I don't know what age I stopped. Like I used to be like really just active. Like I played basketball a lot and baseball and I ran a lot. I've always enjoyed running. Um well, mostly to save my life, but I did enjoy it.
Yeah.
And then I don't know, just one day I don't know, just stopped playing basketball. Like I still carry a basketball in my car. There's a basketball always in my car. If you ever look at my car or get in my car, you can always see a basketball in there. For whatever reason, I keep telling myself, you know what, I'm gonna play again. I'm gonna play again. Never do, never do. But it's always in there.
You just haven't yet. It's not that you never do.
Hmm. Hmm. I don't think I. It's been a few years since I've actually played. I used to just go and shoot around, you know.
Oh, Steven says we lost our YouTube feed.
Oh, we did. Now we lost a YouTube feed too. Oh my
No, I
goodness.
got it on YouTube. It's working.
Oh my
Okay.
goodness. Yeah, like I said, Ray's at a
But
doctor's
the
appointment.
Facebook
So
we don't. I haven't checked it, but I don't. Nothing's coming up on the chat on my. Let me see here.
Brian says it's called old age, Goose. It slows us all down. Well, you're right about that, buddy. You're right about that.
Hmm.
Um, I just burped Dill Pepper. You know, Irene. you know, did, I had Irene on the trivia show because she won. You know, it's like whoever wins gets to be on, and next week it's gonna be Corey for the first time.
Ooh.
I never really met Corey, so it'd be interesting, you know, to meet each other and then him do it. But last week I had Bubba and Irene on. How do you think that went, Cindy? How do you think that went with Irene and Bubba? I thought Irene did really well. She kind of contained herself.
Yeah, I thought it was entertaining.
Yeah.
It chimed in very well. Yeah.
Christina says YouTube is up and running. Facebook, we're getting Facebook as well. Diane's in there. Steve's in there. Irene, Brian, Christina. I saw. Did I see Corey and wait, dang it. I thought I saw Spanky in there too, man.
Yeah, he said he was in there.
Ah, dang it. Hey, what's going on, Spanky? You know who I ran into? You know who I ran into last night? While I was out at dinner. I ran into. I don't know if you guys know. Do you guys remember Shaner from Shaner's Towing?
From
Shaner's
the show. I don't know if that I never
Yeah.
met him, but from the show talking about him.
He owns like a towing service. He has a tire service, you know, and I don't know. He used to have a salvage yard as well. I remember.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So he anything to do with cars, this guy had it. But I don't know what all business he has now. But yeah. I ran into Shaner last night. I was good to run into him. You know, it was a nice little run in. I haven't talked to him in years, not in years. But you know, it's always nice to run into people. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Get caught up.
Yeah, yeah, but it's always awkward too. You never know really what to say because there's so much you can talk about, you know, because like I said, in the span of a few years, you know,
Yeah.
there's so much to talk about. It's like, what do you start first? But
Yeah.
mm, oh yeah, he says, "What's up? What's up, man? What's going on, Spanky?" I didn't talk to Spanky in a bit. It's been a few years since I seen Spanky too. Oh my God, he was that guy that was on my brother's show years ago. Did you ever listen to Ray's show back in the day, Carl?
Yes.
I have some.
Yes.
You have back in the day.
And intermittently, yes.
Hmm. Hmm.
I was working with my earlier years at the post office. He was on the radio. I'd listen to him in the mornings.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You guys would have him on the
Sometimes,
radio, like in the office there.
we had our headphones.
Oh, okay.
Remember the old little headphone deals?
Yeah.
AM, FM.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Oh,
they
yeah, I
didn't
do
last
remember
very
that.
well back then.
No, they really didn't. They didn't.
The wires break so easy. Next thing you know, you got to go get a new one.
We've come a
Yeah.
long way with
Yeah.
those.
Have we
Yeah.
really? Have we really?
I think so.
Don't
I
you think
think-
they could make better AM, FM headphones? Like the headphones I'm wearing now. Like, don't you
Oh,
think they could make them better? Like, if they did it now
Sure.
with today's technology, you know what I mean?
Is this-
You would need the antenna necessarily anymore, right? That little cheap wired antenna you're talking about.
They don't want to make them so good that they don't break. They want you to keep buying the damn things. Yeah.
Yeah, isn't that a trap?
planned obsolescence.
What is that?
Said it's planned obsolescence.
Yeah.
Define
Whenever
that. Define that word. sir.
It's made to break.
Okay.
We got a plan for it. It's gonna be obsolete in a minute.
Mm.
I was looking back in the chat, and they said they'd like for us to dress up more often, at least once in a while.
The Brett is saying in the chat room, are there 2 Goose Troops going on on Facebook right now? See what I'm saying? There must be some issues going on, dude. I'm telling you, there must be some issues.
Interesting.
Yeah, there must be some things going on. I wonder if like an old one's playing and it's like an older one's playing. You know what I mean?
Or is there someone impersonating us on Facebook that we need to get to the bottom of?
Does it look like us?
Oh, Shaggy. There we go. We can
Do
be
they
the
both
Scooby
look like us?
the Scooby gang. We can be the Scooby gang. The Scooby gang.
Yeah.
Right?
We 100% could.
Carl, you could definitely pull off Shaggy, right?
Yeah, I just have to practice that voice and perhaps get some honey lemon tea going or something, because his voice tears up my vocal cords, but I could try it.
Oh, is that right?
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. I probably just need to start drinking that anyway so I could do lots more voices.
Honey tea. I like honey tea, actually. That's good. Like you said, during the winter, I drink a lot of tea now that it's getting colder.
Yeah. Well, and you got me thinking about it, too, because you were talking about Dana Carvey and David Spade's podcast.
Yeah, I love that podcast. It's really good.
Is delight. And he does a lot of it. He's like nonstop impersonations. It's like Dana Carvey is just...
The guy's amazing.
He's amazing.
He is.
He really is.
Yeah.
He really
What's
is.
your favorite Dana Carvey thing? Is it the
now,
SNL?
Isn't that special?
Yeah, I know.
Now, isn't that special?
The church lady. Yeah.
Yeah. He's got a lot of them, though.
Wayne's World?
Not gonna do it. Wouldn't be prudent.
George Bush, the senior. George Bush, yeah.
Yeah.
George H.W. Bush.
Yeah.
That was fantastic. It was nice. It was just like a different take on a president at the time, you know. It was just like he didn't know what to do, so he kind of just made up his own character. It was amazing.
Have you heard that podcast? Have either one of you heard the podcast yet?
I've heard it. I spent all of the morning listening.
Did you really?
I did.
How many episodes did you get through?
I am through 1.5.
Which one did you listen to?
Chevy Chase. I had to start out with Chevy Chase.
Yeah, maybe I was telling you that was what I was telling you about, man. I was like, Chevy, that was such a good interview with him, man. I thought they really
it was far ranging. It was kind of like you were talking about a minute ago. It's like you could just, whenever you don't see somebody for that long, you could talk about all kinds of different things. So they did.
Yeah. And
they were all over the place.
He was one of the first SNL right? Wasn't he one of the first SNL members?
Season 1.
Yeah, that's what he was saying. Yeah.
Apparently, he left after the first season because he wanted to get married to a girl, and he didn't ever marry that girl. So he just left and had a movie career.
Yeah. So pretty good movie career, if you ask me.
Yeah, definitely. Some people never make the transition. They're like, "Hey, I got this in the bag. Everybody knows me. I'm famous." And then
was Chevy a stand-up though? Did he do stand-up before going to SNL, or was he just?
He was on the radio with Bill Murray, apparently.
Yeah, I remember hearing that. Yeah,
radio show that they did together.
Yeah, I remember that. Hearing that. Yeah. I wonder if
I don't know. He's the origin. He's the origin of the Weekend Update. It's wild. That show's been on forever. It's like it blows my mind that a show's been on for so long. It's such an institution. I mean, I haven't watched it in a few years now, but every once in a while I'll catch a little glimpse.
Oh, of SNL, you mean?
Yeah. It's like I think my generation of SNL is the same as yours. It's like I would most fondly like to watch those ones, you know, or earlier. And then there's been moments where it pops back up and I'm like, oh, okay, you know, but usually more often than not, I'm not consistently watching SNL probably.
Yeah, I've always liked the SNL with like I like the era of Spade and those guys and Chris Rock and those guys and I like that era, but right before then, you know, with Phil Hartman, that era was probably that era was probably my favorite of SNL.
That's mine. Dana Carvey, Phil Hartman.
What would you say yours is, Cindy? What SNL? Yeah, would you? Your genre, your era, your would you say is your favorite SNL time?
I used to like when Bill Murray was on there. I like
Yeah,
that. Yeah,
yeah.
Bill
yeah,
Murray. I watched that whenever it was
yeah,
on. That in the Eddie Murphy era, I watched that when it was
yeah.
on.
Eddie Murphy. Uh-huh.
And then it's
Yeah, but
like
Eddie was right after that, right? He
Steve
was right.
Martin. Steve Martin.
Steve Martin,
The land
definitely.
shark would come to the door. Remember that?
The
The
Would
what?
Land
answer the door
Shark.
because the land shark was there. Dun, dun, dun,
No, I
dun, dun,
never. I
dun.
never. What was that one? What was that one?
This they'd
That's
be the
Chevy,
woman
wasn't
would
it?
be there in the house in her apartment, and all of a sudden you'd hear this music, dun, 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 and there'd be a knock at the door. And I think they would say something too, like pizza or something, and they'd be like, "Don't answer the door." And you'd open the, and she'd open the door, and here come this shark would eat her at the door, and they called it land shark.
I
Yeah,
gotta check that out. I'll check that out. Who was in
yeah.
that? Who played the shark and who was answering the door or whatever?
Oh, I
In
don't
my
know if
mind,
we
it's
ever knew the
Chevy.
show.
Is it Chevy Chase that was the Land Shark?
Was it
I don't
Chevy?
remember if they showed the face. Did they?
I don't
Maybe
know. We're
they
about to
did.
find out.
Oh,
Yeah, I'm about to find out. I'm gonna go
Wow. Why
YouTube some
can't we
SNL.
find out while we're making a show?
Well, I don't know if we can air that. To be
hold on, let
honest,
me
we
see.
can't air
Exactly.
that.
It's
Huh.
the paradox.
It is, isn't it? It's a double-edged sword. A lot of double-edged swords in this world, buddy.
Oh man, such a double-edged sword.
What do they say in there? Steve Martin was never really in SNL. He was always a host. Yeah, you're right. He was always a host, right? He probably
He did do
hosted it.
stand-up prior
Yeah, he was
to
definitely a stand-up
being
comedian, but
famous. Do you
yeah,
know has a banjo situation going on? Like, he's a banjo player.
yeah, he did it on. I think he did it on SNL too, didn't he?
I'm
Yeah, he
sure he
did it,
did.
especially his stand-up. He did banjo in his stand-up.
That Chevy Chase interview was so wild, though. I was like, how do I take any of this seriously, or how much of it do I take seriously? I
Yeah,
didn't know
I
what to
felt like
think.
that too. Like, was it just a big goof? Like that when you got to the
I
end,
don't
I was like,
know.
"Is this just a
I have to
big
do
goof or
research
what's
almost.
going on?" Yeah, that's
Yeah,
what I felt
absolutely.
too. Like, was this just a goof or what?
I was confused. At one point, he claims that he is the one of the original drummers in Steely
Yeah,
Dan.
Steely
I was
Dan, he
like,
did.
were you really the drummer for Steely Dan before they were well known? Or
Yeah,
it's
that's what I
so
thought too. Yeah,
it's like
he did.
everybody that's well known knows everybody else that's well known. It feels like it's like
Yeah,
whenever you want one of those guys, if they went to dinner with like some other super famous person, you're like, oh, well,
yeah,
obviously.
Yeah.
that's the ticket. Remember
John
that
Lovett,
character, John
John
Lovett?
Lovitz was there.
Yeah, that's
Uh,
the ticket.
he's one of my favorites.
Dude, he really is. So many. Really, that's like a launching pad, right? For most careers, most comedian careers now, right?
Yeah.
SNL is kind of a launching pad for them, and that started back with Chevy and Bill Murray and all those guys, right? It kind of started
Oh
with
yeah,
them launching their
I always
absolutely.
career. Yeah,
think when
So are
they've been on
you.
there a while, how come they didn't cross over? You know what I mean? When
what
you
do you
watch
mean?
the show, some of them have been on there for quite a while and they never got
Yeah.
into the movies or made more money. That's what I think.
Hmm.
It's a good
Yeah.
question. Sometimes they try and it doesn't work. Sometimes they do make it. Sometimes they.
Maybe
Some
they're just
people.
waiting, like that Keenan's waiting. He's got a new TV show now, so I think maybe
Mhm.
he was waiting for something to come through. But
He's been on
right,
SNL for so long.
yeah, he really has.
Yeah.
He's really grown up on SNL. But because I remember him
He's
from
made
that Nickelodeon
he's
show.
made some commercials too, Keenan.
Yeah, he has, doesn't he? He has done a few commercials. I've heard those. Yeah, I've
Yeah.
heard those. But well, Cindy, I'd like to share one more picture, or actually two more other pictures. This is my favorite picture of you two, Hope, and you on the couch there. I thought this was my favorite one of you two. This one. What is? I don't know what this shit. What does it say? Love you something. You
A
gotta
little
give it.
further
Oh,
back.
pull it back a little.
Pull back.
Now turn
Pull back.
turn
I
it
can't get it to
turn it
work
the other.
right.
Bring it closer to you, Goose.
I am look, but it still won't focus.
It ain't doing nothing.
It won't focus. It won't like refocus there.
Oh, there it goes.
There it is. Looks like she's smiling, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Looks like Hope's smiling. Yeah.
So what does the shirt say? It says love you something.
I don't remember.
Yeah, that's my
I
favorite.
just got it for Valentine's Day and put it on her.
Because
Yeah.
her name was originally Valentine, right?
Yeah.
Her name was originally Valentine.
Yeah.
Valentina? Was that right?
Valentina. Was it Valentina?
Valentine.
Valentine.
Show the one of us. Goose, show the one that we're on the stage.
Oh yeah. I'll find it.
Maybe I'm thinking of hot sauce. I am
What?
always thinking of hot sauce.
We Goose mentioned, and I think you probably heard it too, Carl, that they want to have that lady from Wild on, Jilla Jeezy.
Yeah.
And
Well, not her
that
necessarily, but
picture there, we were at the fairgrounds and they were having a contest with the dogs, and they had different groups and different categories. And Hope and I got into the one called the couch cuddler. So you sit up there on the couch with your dog, and we won first place.
Nice.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. I thought.
Contest.
Yeah, we were sitting back there, and they were, they start with third place, and they go from.
I can't see it. I mean, this freaking light, I can't.
Anyway, they go from
operation.
Third. I didn't think we had a chance in hell of winning. We're just sitting there in the audience, and then we won. It was pretty cool.
Yeah,
But,
it seems like she's got like a ribbon around. Hope's got a ribbon around her.
No, that's just a Hawaiian lei I put on her.
Oh.
Yeah.
Let
me pull it up on mine.
I can't get it to go. It's nonsense.
It's hard. It doesn't always work right.
I actually got to load them up. I should take the time to load them up onto the, the computer, and then I'll be able to put them. Yeah, I got. Well, I should do that, but it's Ray's. It's Ray, Brent. I should do that. You're right, but it's Ray's computer, so I can't.
That's James Hetfield's Halloween costume.
Oh my god!
Did you guys watch Stranger Things?
Can you see mine? Here, look at me.
The guy from Stranger Things.
Here we are.
Yeah.
All right. So I think you need to send us the photos, or maybe we'll do our photos. You may have too much light or something going on.
Yeah, I really do. This light, and plus I can't. Like I said, Brent says I should load them up, but I can't.
If I learn if I knew how to do it,
can be like.
Here we are.
That's good. That's a good
There's
picture.
Our winner.
Cindy. That's good. Yeah. She looks happy. She looks so happy.
Yeah.
Little Hope. And that's her behind you, right? Isn't that her behind you? In those pictures? On the wall?
Yeah, up top. Yeah. There she is.
Yeah.
I'm pointing at them, you guys.
There she is.
Yeah.
There she is, right above my finger. Yeah.
Right there.
Here she is the day I met her.
Is that the day you took her home, though? That day, did you get to take her home?
No, this is at the foster home.
Yeah, but you get to take her home that day, or did you have to go back and make
No, they brought her, I think, a couple days later.
Oh, they brought her.
This is the first night she was at the house, and she was crying. So Mom had to hold her. Yeah.
Was she missing her?
And this is her on one of her snake digs, I think, out in the yard.
Yeah,
she did catch a snake, didn't she?
Yes, at least one.
At least one.
I'm telling you, she's giving you a gift.
Probably like a dozen or more. And there's the picture that Goose was trying to show.
Yeah,
her and her brothers.
Couldn't make it out.
Oh, that is great.
Oh, yeah.
They look like they're playing off to the side there.
Yeah.
There's the Whoop, there you go.
What's that? What was that?
That was her award for couch cuddler.
Oh, I was gonna say I didn't get that one. I didn't get that one. I didn't get that one at all. I have to look.
It was the first one I sent you.
Yeah.
Anyway,
you didn't send that to me though.
Yeah, I did, huh? It's on there.
Brian says I need to stop giving Cindy the finger, but I was just pointing at Hope. It was the index.
Leave it to Brian. Leave it to Brian.
Yeah. Leave it to Brian.
Yeah. There you go.
That's the index.
That's the upcoming show. Leave it to Brian.
Yeah.
To Brian.
He's on after Goose Troop.
Wait till he gets to be your co-host on Saturdays.
He's gonna win that trivia contest yet.
Brian, he is, man. But I think he got in there late last week or something. But he got in there late. But I may have been having trouble or something. But yeah, that'll be awesome if I can ever get him to come on, Carl.
You can do it. You can do it, Goose. We believe in you.
But if he wins, he's gonna have to, right? I mean, if he wins
what else could possibly happen?
Maybe I should have everybody else in the chat room just start guessing ridiculous answers to have Brian win. This way, it's forcing him to be on. Everyone take the Irene approach and guess ridiculous answers. All right, guys, I will say thank you for your stories. There's probably a lot more questions I'll have for you, Carl, pertaining to music, and hopefully we get more stories from you. Is what I'm saying.
You will.
Yeah.
Then, along with you, Cindy, I hope that we get more stories from you as the Goose Troop goes along.
I always have stories.
You do? Yeah, so do I. My stories are either me running or me getting beat up or I don't know, some ridiculous thing that happens to me.
Dressing as women.
Did I eat? Well, yeah. But when I tell you guys that happened, like I was at my cousin's wedding like last month or whatever. And did I tell you this story? Stop me if I told you, but I was at my cousin's wedding last month, and all right. So, and I go to enter up in the room, right in the venue, right. I go early because the church was at one place, where they got married, and then you had to go across town to another where the actual venue was, where the reception was. And I walked in there, and I got there early, and I was looking around, because the bridal party was taking pictures and what have you, and so I walked in a little bit early, and I was looking around, and I go into the back area because I can see where it opened up where they were going to take pictures in there and such. And I see all the wait staff in there. They're running around with their heads cut off, and this one waiter comes up to me and goes, "Hey, we need a couple ice buckets and then fill all the waters on the tables." And I'm like, "What?" I go, "I'm part of the party. I don't work here, man. I don't work here."
God.
And
I think you told me that. Yeah.
And then so I walk outside, right? And I walk outside. I'm like, okay, maybe I shouldn't be in the venue quite yet because no one was in there. And I was like, okay, I'll walk out of the venue because I just wanted to see what it looked like and take pictures and such. It was really pretty. And then so I walk outside, right? And and like I said, the wedding party, my cousin and all the wedding parties taking pictures and such out in the front area because it's got this bridge and it's got this waterfall thing. And it's really pretty out there. And then in this town. And then so I walk, behind and I walk around and I see this guy walking his dog, but what he has is a pit bull. He has a pit bull, but he's on a leash, he's got the pit bull on a leash. And I walk to him and I point and I'm like, "Hey, friendly." And he goes, "I'm not interested." Like I was trying to pick him up. I'm like, "No, dude, I'm asking you if your dog's going to freaking reach for my neck and attack my leg or something." I go, what's going on here? So I ended up having to walk all the way around, and I'm like, okay, I was just simply asking if the dog was going to bite my leg off, take it for lunch. I go, you have a pit bull you're walking around with. I mean, if it was a little chihuahua, I wouldn't ask you, you know what I mean? Who cares? But if you're asking me, you got a German Shepherd, Doberman Pinscher, or one of those types of dogs, well, then obviously I'm going to ask if it's friendly. And the guy goes, "No, not interested." Not interested.
If he was a fan of the show, he might be only in your dreams.
Yeah.
You know what? That's a good way to end it, my friend. That is a good way to end it, my friend. I appreciate it, guys. Thank you to Cindy for sharing her story of hope. And Carl, thank you for sharing some of your knowledge, just a bit of your knowledge as it pertains to music. Hopefully in the weeks to come, you're going to share more knowledge with us, and you as well, Cindy, more stories with us, especially your grandma stories. I really want to hear more stories about your grandma and how she took the chickens. I think that would be wild. Alrighty, guys, and if do you have some outro music for us, sir?
I have. Well, let's see what I've got here. Let's see.
Weren't you working on something last week?
I am, but I don't think I have our same outro music as I have our intro music. Actually, is that all right?
Sounds good. Sounds good. Right. We're ending on a good note.
I think Goose should run off to end the show. What do you
Yeah,
think?
you should. You should run circles around that room.
Run around the room.
You got it ready? You got it queued up?
I don't. It's around here somewhere. Where is this?
What?
Oh, there it is.
Oh, swung and a miss.
Oh, technical
Is that-
difficulties
Are
today.
you trying to practice your Shaggy voice? Are you trying to practice your Shaggy voice?
I wasn't intentionally, but maybe subconscious.
So wait, who's gonna be Scooby in this bunch?
I
If you're
hope, I guess.
Shaggy, what's that?
We got Hope.
We hope
She
can
could
be
be Scooby, maybe. Featuring
Yeah.
Scooby.
And then, so, and then, I don't know. What are the characters? Wait, there's Scooby, there's Shaggy, there's Velma, there's
Velma
Daphne.
and Daphne.
Dude?
Yeah.
Thelma and
dude?
Daphne.
Who's like the jock? Who's the jock? What was his name?
I got picked Shaggy, so.
No, the jock.
Pretty, yeah.
Yeah, Freddy. Okay. Yeah. All right. Maybe I'll be Scrappy.
Scrappy, awesome.
All right, guys. We'll say goodbye. Thank you for doing this show as always. I will talk to you at work, sir. And Cindy, get a hold of me if you want to do another dinner. All righty, guys. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye.
How do I get?